My thought of the day is on courage, right? I read this quote and it says, courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's that quiet voice at the end of the day telling you you will try again tomorrow, right? When I read that quote, I thought about this place. I said, damn, like, it takes a lot of courage to come here, right? It takes a lot of courage for a lot of people to come here, right? That's only the first step, I think, right? Once you get here, they're telling you, this is an 18-month program, you gotta take these classes, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. I feel fortunate and grateful to be able to sit in classes and co-facilitate with Victor and a couple other folks. And we get to see that courage almost on a daily basis. Some of the things that we see is people for the first time being able to sit in a place, in a classroom space, and say for the very first time that they're angry in a way where it doesn't lead to other things, right? They say things like, I had a really hard time being at the funeral last week, right? And crying and say, it reminded me of so many different things. And it reminded me of some of the pain that I have gone through and some of the pain that perhaps I put other parents through, right? And that thought right there really switched up a lot of things for us in that group that day, right? It took courage for that individual to sit there and accept and say that to everybody else in that group that day, right? That individual is someone that's made so much progress here at Homeboy, right? Because he's taking the courage to do that, right? Like him, there's many other stories that I've been able to witness as I'm privileged and grateful and just like, God, I think thank you every day for being able to be part of that conversation, right? Another conversation that sticks out in my mind that I'll never forget about courage was, and it had to do with me, because I felt, man, how am I going to approach this individual and tell him something, right? Anything. He just got out, came to the class, and he would sit there and he had his shades on all the time. And I would always think, like, why doesn't this dude show up? Like, I had just started here, and I would think, like, why is he just sitting there? Like, why is he looking out the window? I'd be like, bro. And he wouldn't turn around. I'd be like, bro. And everybody like, they would look at me like, I wouldn't do that for you, you know. Like, I mean, I'm not in that fear, so I would be courageous, and I'd say, hey, so what do you think about that? And his response would be, I don't know. I wasn't even tripping on that. No. All right, I'll get back to you. And he would kind of look at me like, sometimes he would even lift the shades and then put them back down, like telling me, don't pick on me no more. So I did that for a few times, and eventually it got to the point where I said, you know, hey man, I'm sorry, I don't mean to pick on you or anything, man. I just want to know what you're thinking, you know? And he said, don't trip, I'm good. And I'm like, hey, that's it, that's all I'm going to say. I'm like, all right, cool. All right. So I said, I better back off, you know, because I could tell I would get on his nerves a little bit. So I'm not showing some respect and love. I give him respect. Well, this individual ended up one time telling his family that one of the classes that impacted him the most was that parenting class. And he would go home and he would tell his family about how he wanted to be a better father and how he wanted to improve the way that he communicated with his daughter, you know. And here I was all this time judging this man that he wasn't even engaged in the conversation or even in the process, right? So for me, that's courage, right? And the thing is that courage comes in many forms, right? Just like that quote. So we'll end with the quote again. You know, courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's that quiet voice at the end of the day telling you that you'll try again tomorrow.